people. You know who it is, man. It's Tay Wiggs coming live for the Man Cave as usual. For those who are not subscribed to the YouTube channel and the Twitter page, please feel free to do so now at TAE_WIGGS. I keep up with the latest scores, stats, news, injuries around the NBA. Right now, we got some big news coming out, the Big Apple. The Dolans decided to part ways with GM Phil Jackson after 3 seasons, which 11 coaches under his belt and 9 playoff wins. That right there is an NBA low in playoff wins. They did this because word is that out of Carmelo Anthony camp, that Carmelo Anthony want to be bought out, and out of Kristaps Porzingis camp, that the player exit meeting, he didn't want to talk to Phil Jackson. They feel like Phil Jackson wasn't there for the players when the players needed him. It was more about being Phil Jackson and what Phil Jackson wanted to do. Phil Jackson's still trying to run a triangle, and it's 2017. It's not going to work no more because the players are bigger, stronger, and faster. And one thing, too, I learned about Phil Jackson, when things was going bad, the first thing he'd do, he'd throw Carmelo Anthony under the bus, which is their superstar. I guess Melo got sick and tired of it. Probably sat down with the Dolans like, look, it's either me or it's Phil. So I thought the Dolans sat down and said, you know what? We can afford to lose our Carmelo Anthony, but we can't afford to lose Phil Jackson. So that's what they did. Got rid of Phil Jackson to appease the players. So we're going to see right now what the Dolans going to do. Right now they move in part-time GM Steve Mills in to take the role for right now until they find their GM in the future. But we do know that the Dolans do want to meet with the Toronto Raptors president, Masai Ujiri, which is a younger guy. He addressed what the players want. He gonna get their needs. So he knows the expectations is for the team to go to the next level. So we're gonna see what the New York Knicks gonna do in these next couple of weeks. And like I said, and free agency about to start to July 1st. You can sign free agents July 1st, but the contract don't come official to July 7th. So just keep that in mind. I do want to go back and piggyback to the GM. The Cavaliers also have an opening, too, in their GM, which they sat down and talked to Chauncey Billups for a week or so. They offered him a 5-year deal contract. Dan Gilbert did. So by that, I thought, we're trying to see what happened between them and Griff. I thought David Griffin did a good job with the Cavaliers to get them to 3 straight finals appearances. They let him go. I don't know if it's the money issues or what, or his connection with the players is really tight. Maybe Dan Gilbert didn't want David Griffin that tight with the players. He wanted David Griffin just to fall back and sit in the office and just do his job. Which I want to tip my hat off to David Griffin. Did a fabulous 3 years or so with the Cavaliers since LeBron James got back to Cleveland. In 3 years, you got 1 final championship. Can't complain about that. But back to Chauncey Billups. They offered Chauncey Billups a 5-year deal. He stalled for a minute. We don't know because right now LeBron James is a restricted free agent right now. The Cavaliers got to address a lot of stuff. A backup point guard, a small forward, a rim protector. Can Chauncey Billups be this GM that can address the needs the players want, and also getting the type of players that the organization can build off once LeBron James decides to stop playing basketball within the next couple of years. So that time is coming, folks, so you have to be ready for that. And I think the Cavaliers will get it done, looking for the GM they're looking for. I think Chauncey Billups will be signing with the Cavaliers sometime later this week. But first and foremost, I do want to sit down and talk with you guys about the top free agents that's right now that teams can use. Right now on the board, Steph Curry is an unrestricted free agent, and so is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a restricted free agent, but he want to opt in. But he do want to wait later to see how the roster look before he signed a big contract back with the Warriors. We know he said earlier when they won a championship and early in the season that he said, hey, he do whatever it takes to stay with the Warriors. But right now, it's not looking too good to the Warriors. They know they have to pay their man first, which is Steph Curry. You got to pay one of the Splash Brothers top dollar. They already know that Steph Curry want to be the max player for the upcoming season. He want to get the the 5-year deal for like 220. But what you gonna do when Kevin Durant want that same type of deal? This time, you talk about letting certain players go. You got to trade players and whatnot. Like I said, the top free agents and point guards would be Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, George Hill, Jeff Teague, Drew Holiday, a Derrick Rose, a Patty Mills, a Sean Livingston, and Darren Collison. A lot of teams can use these guys as starters and backups. The Spurs are also going to need a point guard for the future. They got Patty Mills and they still got Tony Parker. After Tony Parker took that gruesome knee injury, my perfect fit for a Spurs point guard and a free agent would be like a Chris Paul or Real Floor General. Darren Collison won't be too bad either. So these are tough-minded guys who can play a vital role for the Spurs to get over that hump and beat another superior team. Other teams that you know for a fact that need backup help, point guard, like Drew Holiday won't be a bad pickup for a team like the Cavaliers, the Indiana Pacers, the Clippers. So you're looking at teams who have opening spots. Derrick Rose name keep coming up too with the Spurs. I won't be surprised if Derrick Rose go sign with Thibodeau and Jimmy Butler and that young Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns team up in Minnesota. That won't be a bad look. Maybe George Hill might come back home and play for the Pacers. You never know, because certain teams need certain spots to fill voids. And first and foremost, we know the Pistons need another point guard. Maybe somebody like a Kyle Lowry can go up there and change the dynamic around. Two places I can see Kyle Lowry going for sure. One could be San Antonio, and the next available spot to me would be Minnesota. Right now, Minnesota's like the team that people are trying to go towards. Younger players who are motivated. They got Jimmy Butler. I feel like they're another piece away to making a splash into the playoffs. So trust me, Thibodeau will get that point guard that he's looking for. They are looking to move Ricky Rubio, and Ricky Rubio is getting some calls too from the Utah Jazz. So don't be surprised if you see a Kyle Lowry in the Timberwolves jersey or a Derrick Rose, because it may happen, folks. Top shooting guards in the game right now that are open for free agent spots. You have a J.J. Redick, a Dion Waiters, a Tony Allen, Kyle Korver, and Jonathan Simmons. First and foremost, I think Jonathan Simmons will sign back with the Spurs. No ends, and what's about it? He's going to sign back with the Spurs. No, don't got to worry about that. They will sign Jonathan Simmons back. Kyle Korver, he may stay with the Cavaliers depending what another team is offering Kyle Korver. From Kyle Korver, you get a stretch 2 and a 3 at the same time, and you can knock down a 3. Just like probably one of the best pure 3-point shooters in the game that the NBA can offer. Tony Allen with him, he's been injured for the last couple of years going into the playoffs, but with him you do get a lockdown defender which certain teams can use. A Cavaliers team could use a lockdown defender like that. Maybe the Golden State Warriors can get another piece like that. Maybe Minnesota, or maybe go back to Boston. It's different looks that different teams can do with a Tony Allen. He may stay with the Grizzlies depending on where Zach Randolph may go. Dion Waiters is a free agent. When he got injured, when they was on the road trying to make a playoff push, the team lost their last 6 or 7 games without Dion Waiters. When Dion Waiters is in that lineup, that team looked like a vital threat, the Miami Heat, to make a push to the playoffs. I won't be surprised if Dion Waiters sit down and go back home and sign with the 76ers. You get a veteran guard, a savvy guard, someone who's not scared to go at his opponent. That would be a nice look for the young 76ers with all the talent that they have with an Embiid, a Jahlil Okafor, a Markelle Fultz, a Ben Simmons. So that team has some young pieces. Don't be surprised if that guy, Dion Waiters, heads home and play for the 76ers. J.J. Redick. Where do I see someone like J.J. Redick going to? A lot of these guys are getting up there in their prime. Maybe he stayed with the Clippers. Hey, maybe he go to the Lakers. Or he might sign with the Warriors. A player, if you're hungry for a championship, a lot of these older guys who've been in the league for 13 or 14 plus years, they would take pay cuts to come join a team like a Warriors or a Cavaliers or a Spurs if they trying to get over that hump to win a championship. Top small forwards in the game, like I said, Kevin Durant is one, Gordon Hayward, Andre Iguodala, Rudy Gay, Donald Gallinari. A player like Rudy Gay, he would be a nice backup. Cavaliers, Warriors. Maybe head back to Toronto. Toronto just need another piece, another legit scorer. It depends on Rudy Gay's health. That would determine his contract expenses right there. Rudy Gay can play for a handful of teams. Maybe the Miami Heat. Maybe the Charlotte Hornets give him an offer. He can play for the Hornets. The Hornets is another team who I think is going in the right direction. Need another scorer, another guy who can get you 20 plus per game. Andre Iguodala is getting offers from all types of teams. He's eligible to get 20 a year. 76ers is a team that's out there. The Trailblazers, of course, the Warriors want to keep him. Spurs, Timberwolves. These are the type of teams that could use Andre Iguodala come off the bench. He's a lockdown defender. You've seen what he did in his last 3 title runs with the Warriors. He's a Finals MVP back in 2015. This year, in 2017, when they won his second ring, you see what he did come off the bench. He's a starter on the bench, which is pretty good for a younger team. He can give that younger team the mold to make that team better and keep that team hungry and fighting if they want to win. So I wouldn't be surprised if Iggy go back to the 76ers or he signed with the Spurs. The money's out there. Teams are trying to lure away Warriors bench players. It may happen. He might be in a different jersey, in a different area code this year. Gordon Hayward, he's a free agent. The Jazz, what they're going to do, they may lose him to the Boston Celtics or the Miami Heat. Those are the 2 teams, the names that keep coming up down here. Gordon Hayward, I see Gordon Hayward as a better fit in Boston because the coach Brad Stevens coached him in college at Butler University. These are the things that I see from him. Going back there, filling that need as a scorer and a defender. He's another guy who's a two-way player. He can defend and he can score. He gives you viable minutes. So that would be a plus help too to help out Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, and them guys. That means if you get a Gordon Hayward, do you part ways with a Jay Crowder? Something's going to happen. So the big one out here right now is restricted Paul George. Every team want Paul George, from the Wizards, Cavs. I mean, everybody want a piece of Paul George. Raptors do. I can see the Cavaliers getting them. But right now, I think the Lakers may get them if they give up the right pieces. I know the Lakers don't want to part ways with a Brandon Ingram and a Jordan Clarkson. I feel like the Cavaliers do want to part ways with Kevin Love so they can get faster on the offensive end and quicker on the defensive end. So you get Paul George. You know, we see what Paul George has done to the Cavaliers and other teams, especially in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs, but regular season. So Paul George's name is out there in the hat. He's getting offers from everybody. Clippers, Lakers, Wizards, Cavs, Heat, Celtics. So just to keep that out there. Kevin Durant is huge. Finals MVP. He's one of them guys. It's a once-in-a-lifetime player because he can do it all. He stepped up on the defensive end in the playoffs, as you see. He don't want to sign a contract because he want to see what the team structure going to be. Like I said earlier in this segment, before he signed a contract, he don't want to get stuck where it's just a group of 5 starters and the bench is depleted. So you want to make sure you get the right players come off the bench so you can get that valuable rest. So So Kevin Durant, like I said, he's a restricted free agent, and he just want to make sure he get the right deal done, because he can't opt. I keep saying restricted, but he can't opt out and go play elsewhere. I keep saying the Washington Wizards is not a bad fit for him. That's all they are missing. It's a really legit 3. Yes, we know Otto Porter's a restricted free agent, but you get a Kevin Durant to fill that void. That's a different Wizards team. Like I said, you got a knockdown shooter in Bradley Beal, and John Wall is fantastic. He can play both ways as a point guard, scoring and defending. Power forwards right now in the game: Blake Griffin, Paul Millsap, Pau Gasol. Paul Gasol is opting back in to take less money to stick with the Spurs. So is Dirk Nowitzki is going to opt out of his contract to take less money to stay with the Mavericks. Them two guys are not going nowhere. Taj Gibson is another name out there a team could use. Maybe stay with the Thunder or go play elsewhere. He won't be a bad pickup for a team like the Lakers or Minnesota. You go play back with Thibodeau. So there's options out there for Taj Gibson. Zach Randolph is a restricted free agent, an unrestricted free agent. He might go sign with the Warriors. Maybe he go back home and play for the Pacers because he is from Gary, Indiana. So I'm just throwing stuff out there where these players may land. Blake Griffin, his top one of his picks is the Celtics and the Raptors, Wizards. So where would this guy go? OKC Thunder. If they lose a Taj Gibson, you pick up a Blake Griffin. That's a nice pickup right there. Paul Millsap. A player like Paul Millsap, he is from New Orleans. Can you imagine him playing for the Pelicans at that 3 spot? Won't be a bad look. Even though he's a power forward, you can move him down and play that 3 spot with an Anthony Davis and a DeMarcus Cousins. That's a nice front court right there, but they got to find some more pieces. I can see Paul Millsap heading back to Utah Jazz, being comfortable there. It's just different things that these players can do in a free agent. So like I said, I won't mind seeing a Paul Millsap going back to Utah if they lose a Gordon Hayward. Centers, Andrew Bogut is a free agent. Zaza Pachulia, Nene, JaVale McGee, and Dwayne Dedmon. Dwayne Dedmon want to test the free agency market after one season with San Antonio. Who would pick him up for a nice role? Miami Heat would not be a bad choice. If the Warriors lose Zaza Pachulia, you could bring him in to fill that hole. You still got JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee may stay with the Warriors and take less, but since the final appearance that he had, I wouldn't be surprised if a team offered him a max contract and go play elsewhere, because he didn't look too bad at all in the playoffs. Caught a lot of dunks, and blocks. Nene's another free agent who can go somewhere else and play. Maybe stay with the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets not a bad team that the players are looking at. Chris Paul may go to Houston because they are pushing him in that direction aggressively. So don't be surprised if you see Chris Paul in a Rockets jersey. Never know. Zaza Pachulia, he's going to stay with the Warriors. I don't think he's going nowhere. He can take less to get a championship ring. He's going to stay put. Andrew Bogut is another guy who teams may come after. Maybe he go back with the Cavaliers. After that stint he had, he only played a minute before the injury. You never know. Maybe he go play for San Antonio. If San Antonio lose Dwayne Dedmon or LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge want to be traded. That's what I'm hearing coming from the San Antonio camp. Maybe the Hornets go after him. Maybe the Portland Trail Blazers come back and pick him up. Or he may get dealt to the Sacramento Kings. So there's a lot of things going on out there in the free agency world. You know who I am. Like I said, I'm Tay Witz, coming live for the Man Cave. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at TAE_WIGGS. Until next time, folks, I'm out of here. Peace.